Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us for today's webinar for the Informatica Cloud Summer Release for 2014. My name is Ajay Gandhi. I'm in the Cloud Product Marketing Group here at Informatica, and joining me today on the webinar are two colleagues, Krupa Natarajan from Product Management and Pratik Parekh, also from Product Management. Our agenda today is pretty broad and comprehensive, and we hope exciting for you as much as it has been for us to get this release out. We're going to do a quick recap of the entire Informatica Cloud portfolio so everyone understands what we offer. And then we're going to go into what's the key highlights of the Cloud Summer Release, mainly around our exciting new real-time application integration capabilities, how we've now created the single most unified batch and real-time solution in the iPaaS space. We're also going to expose and discuss our API framework for iPaaS style integrations. And we're going to build on our spring release where we introduced Vibe integration packages, or VIPs, which were pre-built business integration templates, and show you some of the new ones that are available with the summer release, as well as some new capabilities. And then finally, some exciting new capabilities around analytics and advanced integration transformations for Cloud Mapping Designer. And at the end, we'll save lots of time for Q&A. Would love to hear your feedback. Throughout the webinar, if you have questions, please use your Ask Questions button and submit questions in the chat window, and we will have our product experts waiting to talk to you about those. So just to make sure everyone's on the same page, the Informatica Cloud portfolio is the broadest in the industry. We cover not only sort of the industry-leading data integration and analytics capabilities for batch and bulk integration, but we also have a fully comprehensive cloud application integration capability for real-time patterns, including process automation, human workflow, and the ability to take any real-time integration and convert it into a mobile app that you can use for process flow interaction around the real-time data. We also have comprehensive sandbox management capabilities that let you manage your Salesforce sandbox data with masking and subsetting features using our cloud test data management capabilities. And then finally, our Cloud Master Data Management for Salesforce lets you manage data hierarchies, whether those are customer hierarchies, product hierarchies, or any other kind of data hierarchy. Think of geographical business units in a multinational, for example. And of course, with our MDM capabilities and data quality, you can have clean, consistent customer data that's unified across a single view. So we're removing duplicates, removing mismatches and errors in the data. And you can also enrich all this data with our cloud data services, adding emails, address verification, and other capabilities. And you can see we have a ton of different customers in different industries. The ones you see here are just samples. You can go to informaticacloud.com, of course, to see a lot of the other customers that may be in your industry and the use cases they're using Informatica Cloud for. We talked a little bit about iPaaS, which is Integration Platform as a Service. We'll get more into this as we talk about the API framework features in the summer release. But just so you know, all of those capabilities I just showed you, whether it's data hierarchy management or data integration or real-time application integration, are all delivered on a unified platform with the Vibe runtime engine at its core to allow you to seamlessly share metadata across on-premise and cloud integration workflows, and now across real-time and batch integration workflows as well, and we'll show you that in the demo. We have a full set of connectors and an SDK to extend the connector capability, monitoring security, and a full set of REST APIs so you can access any of this capability, any of the features in Informatica Cloud on a system-to-system basis if you're doing your own applications or if you're OEMing the solution, etc. Of course, a big part of cloud integration for us and for our customers is being able to instantly connect to the apps where they need the data, whether that's SAP to Salesforce or NetSuite to Salesforce or maybe NetSuite to Amazon Redshift or being able to store data in Hadoop, store millions of rows of log file data from e-commerce sites in Hadoop or what have you. We have out-of-the-box connectors for all the major cloud applications and all the major enterprise on-premise applications, and emerging important ecosystems such as Hadoop, Amazon Redshift, and others. And this is just sampling. You can go to informaticacloud.com and look up our connectivity there, and it's fully explained. Now let's get to the really good stuff. So let's talk about the summer release. which is already GA'd as of today and is available for you to try if you want to do a 30-day free trial, for example, from informaticacloud.com. For those of you that are already Informatica Cloud customers, you got the new capabilities pushed out to you, and hopefully you've already been looking at them and reading the release notes and trying out some of the new features. So some of the key innovations that we're really excited about with the summer release, and we'll get into more of each of these as Krupa and Pratik take you through the details and the demos. As I mentioned, real-time cloud app integration. We are now delivered, we think, the most complete cloud app integration capability in the marketplace with 100% design environment that's meant not just for developers, but also meant for line of business IT and even for app admins to be able to build real-time process workflows that cut across on-premise and cloud systems that also have human workflow built in and can be translated instantly into mobile apps on an iPhone, tablet, or Android phone. And we think that's a unique set of capabilities that all of our customers are looking for as they move to cloud-first and mobile-first touch points for their employees and their customers. And then secondly, we now offer with the summer release the ability to create workflows around data sharing that mix and match batch and integration patterns. And this is really important, and Pratik will get into some of the interesting use cases we're working with customers on. But this is really important because in today's world with on-premise data, cloud data, transactional data, social data, you really, more than ever before, are dealing with real-time interactions as well as having to process large volumes of data to make insights and make actionable recommendations or actionable initiatives happen in your company. And having the ability to create a single workflow that unifies that is a big advantage. Thirdly, we're going to talk about some of the new Vibe integration packages that are available as of today, such as a really exciting one for Siebel to Salesforce and others around SAP to Salesforce. And then finally, we're going to go through the API framework for iPaaS and talk about all the different API consumption creation and definition patterns that we now support for connecting to internal or external APIs. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Pratik, who's going to walk you through the first set.
Great. Thank you, Ajay. So I'll be walking you over on the real-time cloud application integration. So and this is our second iteration of this release. We started on real-time cloud application integration in our what we call as R19 release. This is the second release, what we call as R20. And let me first give you a quick overview of what we mean by cloud application integration. What are the sort of scenarios or patterns of integration that it covers, and then we'll take a look at some of the use cases. So first and foremost, app integration is between app-to-app integration in real time. It includes things like service orchestration. The typical pattern here is request-response pattern, which is a synchronous request-response. You have long-running business processes for example, if you're doing things like order processing, which spans across multiple enterprise applications, let's say from starting with opportunity in Salesforce, and you are ultimately processing the order in your typical ERP environment, maybe it's SAP or Oracle eBusiness Suite, you are looking at a much more complex business process, and typically those processes are long-living, and that gets into process automation. That pattern is also supported with this product. The third one is screen flow, and what we mean by screen flow is more of a human interaction. So you have a process that involves human workflows, some human intervention. You are doing things like data stewardship, for example, and you want somebody to take an action on a process before the process moves forward. And that piece is what is supported with our technology called a screen flow. Fourth pattern is more of a mobile services. So what if you have this request response pattern, but you want to actually access your service from a mobile device? And we provide that in more native fashion by providing you a widget that works within your mobile environment. And that enables processes and service integration right from your mobile device. Something very unique that Informatica Cloud offers as part of the iPaaS platform. And all this comes with a broad connectivity, which Ajay covers. as you covered earlier. So when you're looking at such integration, typically in an on-premise world, this used to be a very involved activity. Here, what we are offering is more of a point-and-click solution with some built-in, ready-to-use connectors. And on top of that, you can also build these connectors very easily with some graphical wizards. And I'll be walking you through some of that pretty soon. So let's take the use cases. I covered the request response scenario where you, for example, you want to do a real-time inventory lookup from your SAP environment into your Salesforce environment. And that typically requires connectivity, not just a real-time support, but it also requires a very seamless way to reach to your SAP environment and bring that data over. And that is, as you all can imagine, it's not an easy task, but what we have done is we provide built-in solution to address this type of scenarios. The second one is a more involved one, which is a long-running process from opportunity to order, cutting across multiple systems. And here you may be typically looking at your CRM system to be Salesforce, your ERP environment may be e-business environment or SAP, your order processing, your fulfillment may be some other third enterprise application or a cloud application, and you want to stitch all those services together to build a complex process. And this type of solution requires a very strong orchestration engine underneath, which is what Informatica Cloud offers. The third one is an asynchronous scenario where you have your existing JMS service or a middleware or an ESB solution, and you would like to actually interact with that ESB environment and an asynchronous solution. And that scenario is also easily done with this real-time app integration solution from Informatica. And finally, as I covered earlier, the mobile mashup. This is more and more relevant in the world where we are right now, where almost all our Salesforce and our line workers are mobile enabled, and they would like to access and add and reach out to those services in real time. And Informatica offers this solution, all of those patterns that I covered earlier, accessible via mobile device. So that is, again, a very strong value prop from the solution, from a solution point of view. How do you go about building this? So what we have is the Cloud Process Designer. This is the first release of this. We introduced it, and we are very proud of announcing it with this webinar here. That today we have a 100% cloud-based point-and-click type solution to build to address the type of scenarios that I covered earlier. And as you can see, it's a very user-rich, and it's not only for your app architects or IT developers. Even a LOB IT or an LOB developer can actually pick this solution and should be able to orchestrate a real-time workflow very easily. The other point here is that generally, when you're working with cloud services and in real time, providing and having connectors for each and every service is likely impossible. There are thousands of cloud services out there. So what you want is an easy way to reach to those services. So what we offer as part of the solution is a drag and drop wizard-driven approach to reach out to the SOAP or REST services or REST wizards and enable those connectivity. This does come with a very strong real-time monitoring capabilities as well. You can not only just look at the logs and activity logs that you are used to with Informatica Cloud, but now you can actually drill down into individual processes to figure out where your process is at any given point of time. And this is very valuable for long-running business processes, because you want to know where your processes are at any given point of time. And you want to troubleshoot it. You want to figure out what the data is coming in and going out. And this monitoring and administration console will help you with debugging, and from an administrative point of view, it's going to be a very convenient way to manage the environment. Now let's look at, Ajay actually introduced this topic of unifying batch and real-time. So as you all know that Informatica has one of the best, batch solution, or what we call as bulk solution. The ability to bring the batch and real-time together is very powerful. And there are a number of scenarios that this can be useful. So what it does is, within your orchestration flow, if you want to do a bulk processing, for example, this is going to be possible now with the solution. Well, you have a control flow, and the control flow actually then leverages the data flows within that part of the orchestration. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples around that. The first one is here, a couple of those are listed here. You have a lead that you want to actually load up in Marketer, but you want to do that only on certain events that are happening within your Salesforce environment. Maybe there is a filter around your location, or filter around the region, or a quarter, and you want to trigger that only when certain things are happening. For example, a successful campaign was launched, and if the leads are of high quality, you want to do a check around that and then load it up. And you can do some of those as part of your orchestration flow, and somewhere in between that flow, you are going to invoke a batch flow that is actually moving the data and then bringing some relevant data back to the real-time flow to actually act upon. So again, something very, very believe we are the Informatica differentiate in this particular solution, because there are two engines working here, and they are fit for use to that particular workload. So the real-time engine is pretty strong to handle the real-time use case, and batch engine does the batch work. Now, we would love to hear more about how you are going to use this. If you come across some interesting scenarios as to how a real-time and batch flows work together, please note that down, and maybe you can actually add that into your chat window today so that we can review that at the end of the call. Talking about example, here is one flow that I'm showing here. As you can see, this is not for people who are using Informatica Cloud today. You may not be familiar with this designer, but here it gives you a view of a designer, which is the real-time designer I talked about. And then what it is doing is actually embedding the data flows as part of the real-time. And you can do something like task orchestration, which many of you have been using. You have been using task flows from Informatica before, but now you have much more sophisticated functionality in terms of parallelism, in terms of rollbacks, in terms of dynamic routing, and so on. And that is going to, when you combine that with what we have as part of the batch flows, this is going to be a very strong solution for a lot of use cases that we have come across from our customers, and also I'm sure you have some of those. At this time, let's take a look at one of the demos that we have created which is a really good demo of unifying the batch and real-time solution.
This demo shows you how Informatica Cloud can do both batch and real-time integration workflows on a single unified platform. There are lots of scenarios that can benefit from batch and real-time integration. In this example, we have an order fulfillment process between a major automotive manufacturer and parts supplier that's executed in real time. The parts buyer, who works for the automotive manufacturer, purchases the parts via a supplier portal. A sales rep for the supplier receives a purchase order request, kicking off a process for order fulfillment that includes real-time and batch components. What you're seeing is the Informatica Cloud Process Designer, where the supplier's fulfillment process is defined. The process sends the order as a new opportunity into Salesforce. The sales rep uses Salesforce to manage incoming orders and can view all details of the automotive manufacturer account record and any related opportunities. The incoming order is stored as an opportunity in Salesforce. As you can see, there's a discount associated with the order that needs to be updated. Auto parts have literally thousands of SKU numbers with different prices for every permutation and combination. For any given order, discounts are based on historical pricing data. Accessing large volumes of pricing data requires a batch integration job to look up the necessary information. Here we see the real-time process invoking the data integration batch job through an API. The batch job is invoked via a service call which starts the mapping configuration task, providing all the necessary input parameters. Integrating the large volume of pricing data from SAP is a typical example of a bulk data integration pattern. With Informatica Cloud, it's easy to aggregate this pricing data with the relevant product SKU number and retrieve the correct price to calculate the discount in the real-time order fulfillment process. When we run this entire order fulfillment workflow, we can see that all the real-time processes associated with the workflow have executed, along with the data integration task which aggregated the pricing information. Back at the auto manufacturer, we can see from his email inbox that his order has been executed successfully and an order number has been provided.
Okay, so hope that gave you a good flavor of what the unified app and batch integration can do for you. So let's move on to the next topic, which is the API framework. This is also an exciting new feature functionality that we are bringing into the iPaaS platform with this release. We distinguish between the API framework from typical what industry call as API management. The framework allows you to do a few things such as API definition, API creation, and API consumption. A definition is something where you are actually leveraging an existing service, maybe your SOA service within your enterprise or your external cloud services, and you are defining that as an API to be leveraged as part of your integration solution. That's the API definition. Creation will allow you to create an API right from scratch. From, for example, you want to create an order data API that is very specific to your business use case, and you want to make that available to your partners, or you want to make that available to your existing developers to leverage that as part of some higher level business solution. So you would develop your own APIs and you would make that available for others to consume it. And that's API creation. And finally, you want the capability to consume it as part of your orchestration or integration. And that is API creation, consumption. Consuming, you can do external consumption. So you have APIs available from, for example, from API management vendors, from your partners, from your even in some cases from your direct customers, and you want to actually engage that, leverage that as part of your business solution, and you would like to consume it, and that's API consumption. What it allows you to do is obviously unlock internal services as externally consumable APIs. So you can, as I said earlier on, you have solutions inside your enterprise. You want to expose that, but in a controlled fashion to your partners or to your customers, and you would be able to unlock and free that services from your on-premise environment and now make it available externally in a controlled fashion. The key use cases I can think about on the API side is mashups. Mashups are a very, very typical use case that you have a web app and you are leveraging APIs from multiple sources. Some are cloud applications, more like an enterprise applications. some are very small pointed APIs available to you where you want to bring in certain data. For example, stock value from NASDAQ, who actually exposes an API, and you want to bring that most recent stock ticker price into your mashup environment, or a weather. Today's weather, and it changes all the time. So you are actually going against that particular weather service, and you're bringing the most recent up-to-date weather onto your mashup environment. So those are type of solutions that we think about when you want to do both create as well as consume within an integration environment. So we offer both solutions. We offer end-to-end solutions from creation to consumption, and then leveraging an existing API. Here is an example of a Yahoo weather service. So as you can see, this is a very complex model actually, which Yahoo provides, and it's very cryptic, and you want an easier way to actually leverage this API, which is available from Yahoo, and leverage it within an integration environment. So what we have is a point-and-click solution where you can actually define this API. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking at the Yahoo service. I only need one operation, which is the get weather operation, and it's accepting one parameter, which is I'm defining here as an API input. That covers my input part of it. And here I'm working against the same complex XML file, but you can see here that we have simplified it in a way that somebody who doesn't have familiarity with XML and XML structures can also easily define what the inputs and outputs are. The next screen shows you the output, and here I'm looking at the output that includes the city, the condition, the temperature, and I'm not, Yahoo API provides probably 30 or 35 different parameters, and I'm only interested in 5, which is what I'm defining here. And that's what we are calling it as an API definition, because this is the service, whatever the internal service, and it could be a composite that I'll be leveraging in my applications later on. The next one is the binding service. So anybody who's familiar with API and API integration knows that we need to bind that to that particular originating service. So here what I'm providing is a binding URL, and it can get a little complex depending on the service and who is exposing it in terms of authentication and other name value pairs. And you can do all of that in the binding tab of the API definition wizard. And finally, I want to show you how you can actually create it. So here is that create order API. That talks to my SAP environment, is generating the order, and is bringing the order ID back. Now I want to, this is my existing service that is available from my on-premise environment, maybe in your ESB environment or your from your favorite application, and you want to expose that now to your partner, a B2B partner in this case. And you want to expose that as an API. So what I'm doing is I'm building that particular structure, which is a very simple one in this case, and I'm exposing that endpoint as an API, which others can consume as create order. Okay. So the next one is the API consumption. Consuming APIs, as I just described, we just define that API as the input outputs. Here you can see those input outputs when you are consuming it. So as a consumer of the API, you don't need to know anything. The steps which I went over was more of a creation of those APIs. Here, as a consumer, you are just going to leverage it and just drag and drop that particular API into your environment. And you can build some complex orchestration such as this to leveraging those APIs. Okay. At this point, let me hand it over to my colleague, Krupa Natarajan, to go over some of the other innovations that has come into this release.
Thank you, Pratik. Hi, everybody. This is Prafana Trajan. Very excited to, about this release with all the new capabilities that Pratik covered, which enhance our app-to-app integration and real-time capabilities. We're also significantly extending the data integration platform. And in the next few minutes, I'll speak about the data integration enhancements and the new capabilities, as well as showcase how we have utilized and built integration applications that can be reused based on the platform. So we at Peace, we introduced Vibe integration packages in our Spring 2014 release. Vibe integration packages are pre-built data integration apps that business users can readily consume either through an automatically generated wizard interface available in Informatica Cloud or through REST APIs and third-party applications that leverage those APIs. What this enables us, as well as IT developers and architects to do, is pre-build an integration end-to-end for common integration scenarios. For example, this could be a Salesforce to NetSuite account sync. That's a fairly standard process that can be pre-built and then leveraged for consumption by Informatica Cloud users. What you're seeing now is a wizard interface that the Informatica Cloud platform generates and allows business users to configure certain aspects of the pre-built integration. For example, even when you hide away all the complexity of the account synchronization in the Salesforce to NetSuite scenario within the integration application, business users can be exposed to configure certain filters based on which the accounts can be integrated, or even be allowed to complete the integration for custom fields because everybody's Salesforce organization is unique and they have extensible custom fields and so on. So not only does the pre-built Vibe integration package encapsulate all the complexity, but it's not rigid. It allows consumers of the package to configure certain aspects of it which are exposed through kind of like a fill in the blank where they go through a wizard interface and configure them out. Here are some of the examples of the Vibe integration packages that can be built on the platform. And because these are built using Vibe, which is Informatica's Map Once, Deploy Anywhere technology, these Vibe integration packages or pre-built integration applications can not only be leveraged on the Informatica Cloud platform, but they can also be leveraged on using our on-premise tools such as PowerCenter. And these pre-built integration packages are distributed through Informatica's marketplace, so feel free to go in there and look for integration templates that you can readily avail. You can also leverage these through the published bundles, which are available through the Configure tab in Informatica Cloud. There are a number of the quick startup kits for data integration and data quality that have already been pre-exposed as integration packages through the available bundles. Moving on, we want to showcase an example of such a pre-built Vibe integration package that we're making available with the Summer 2014 release. Siebel to Salesforce data migration is a fairly common integration scenario in the industry. What we've done is leverage the Informatica Cloud platform to pre-build the Siebel to Salesforce data migration and synchronization and make it available as a native application that can be consumed through the Salesforce App Exchange. So what we have is the Siebel to Salesforce integration pre-bundles the migration and synchronization capabilities for a number of different objects that are commonly synchronized between Siebel on-premise and Salesforce on the cloud. These include objects such as accounts, contacts, products, price books, opportunities, quotes, and assets. We've encapsulated all of these into pre-built integration applications. And then using the REST API framework, we've exposed this through a native app in the Salesforce environment. So you could go into Salesforce as a Salesforce user, natively navigate into this particular application, and then choose to integrate all of these objects with just a few clicks For example, shown here, you could at once enable the migration of a number of these objects with a click of a button. These just completely run. So all the complexity of the integration is completely hidden away. All that the user is doing is clicking through a few object selection screens. And then, as I mentioned earlier, everybody's Salesforce instance is unique, Siebel instance is unique. So we also provide the flexibility of being able to complete the configuration of the integration for custom fields. So what is shown here is a field mapper interface where some of the standard fields have already been pre-mapped in the integration app that's delivered out of the box. And then the user of the app still has the flexibility to complete the mapping for custom fields that are unique to them. Again, what I just walked through not only showcases how integrations can be completely abstracted, pre-built, all the complexity hidden away, but also extremely flexible, allowing users to configure them, and then they can be exposed natively in other ecosystems. Now, the reason why all of this is capable is enabled is because we have the new cloud mapping designer that we introduced in the spring 2014 version. This is a 100% cloud-enabled a canvas that allows you to drag and drop transformations into a palette and start building end-to-end mappings. What we've done in the summer 2014 release is extended the capabilities of that cloud mapping designer and introduced some advanced integration transformations. Shown here are two examples, the aggregator and the normalizer, which really make it very powerful, and you could build solutions and integrations for data warehousing and BI use cases. For example, the aggregator is a simple yet very powerful way to roll up data and summarize data records. And these data records that you aggregate may come in from multiple different cloud applications or a combination of cloud and on-premise applications. And you can aggregate data across all of those in huge volumes and then make it available in your data warehousing for dashboarding needs. Also, what we've introduced is the normalizer, which again is very powerful in data warehousing use cases. It allows you to transpose data from columns into rows, which is highly useful in pivoting scenarios, especially when you're summarizing data. So again, we've extended the capabilities of the cloud-based mapping designer canvas, but also made it extremely simple to even solve your advanced use cases through the new transformations that have been introduced. The next thing we'd like to showcase here is the hybrid maplets. For those of you that are on-premise customers as well, PowerCenter has this ability to pre-configure a set of transformations into a reusable component called maplet that can be used in different integration mappings. What we've now enabled through the Vibe platform is you could take a pre-built maplet from PowerCenter and leverage it in a cloud-based mapping. So again, speaking to our hybrid capabilities between on-premise and the cloud platform, we've made it extremely simple to make use of your existing investments in terms of your maplets, extend them into your cloud integration scenarios, and these can be ported back and forth between PowerCenter and the cloud platform. So again, exciting new capabilities. We hope that these and the Vibe integration packages really make it much easier for you to consume advanced integrations in the cloud. Back to you, Jay.
Thanks, guys. So hopefully that was a quick overview of the Cloud Summer 14 release for Informatica. And now we'd like to open it up for questions that you guys have around what you've heard, around your use cases that you're trying to do. And we'd love to hear areas where you may think unified batch and real time may make sense, and we'd love to talk to you about that. So we have a few questions in the question chat window. If you have additional questions, please go ahead and chat them now. Click on the Ask a Question button above your BrightTalk panel, and we'll start now going through the different questions. So let's start with the first question, which is, do the flows support a BPEM model, which I think stands for Business Process Exception Management, where we could bring in a human element into the workflow. So Pradeep, maybe I'll turn that over to you.
Yeah, so we do support the full people as well as BPMN standards, and that includes the human task. Generally, the engine is capable of supporting the human task, which is a standard, not exactly the BPEM. I feel that it should be easily pluggable though, and we can actually have a discussion as to what your exact requirements are, and go forward on that. So please do send me a note or Ajay a note, and then we'll take that forward.
So another question is about the Cloud Process Designer that we talked about as part of the summer release. What Informatica Cloud editions is that available in? Advanced, Enterprise, Premium? Pradeep, can you?
Yeah, so it actually it is sold as an option package on top of all our editions. So if you are on basic or you are on advanced or previously standard edition, you can actually opt for the whole real-time application integration solution. It comes default in our premium edition packaging.
Great. Here's a question. This customer is hearing a lot of things about REST API and SOAP interfaces and wanted to know whether Informatica Real-Time Cloud supports Oracle, JDBC, AQs, eBiz Adapter, etc.
With real-time, I suppose. So the answer is yes. So what we currently do is we can reach to any of the endpoints, as I said earlier, over SOAP and REST. That includes complex objects and complex XML schemas, all of that. And we are coming up with more and more native adapters to connect to a legacy system. So, for example, SAP, eBusiness Suite, all of those are something that we are working on, will be released pretty soon.
Great. And just a follow-up question to that, Prateek. Do we have a built-in JMS server to support pub sub models, or do we need to use an external JMS server for this?
Yeah, we support the asynchronous patterns with Informatica Cloud, but today we don't have a built-in JMS server. What we do is we require and we work with any of your JMS providers out there, including cloud-based or your on-premise. So if you have an on-premise asynchronous server, we can easily work with that over JMS to support your pub-sub scenarios.
Great. So here's a great question around real-time integration. Do we now support the request-response pattern with a complex list of JSON objects in both request and response?
Yes. I think yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. And the next question, maybe Krupa, you can answer this. The release notes show changes to migration, but mention that the changes aren't documented. Can you expand on that?
Sure. We're continually making improvements in publishing newer versions of the doc, and we're also moving towards a lot of interactive docs that we'll make available. But specifically on the question of migration, with our spring 2014 version, we had some limitations in terms of the mappings that you build using the Cloud Mapping Designer and the ability to migrate them across your sandbox and production orgs. With the summer 2014, there are no such limitations. You can build your mappings and put them over to your sandbox, dev, test, and prod orgs very easily, and we've made a lot of enhancements to the way our migration capability works. And that's part of the summer 2014.
Somebody was asking if the webinar will be available for viewing later. It absolutely will. This is recorded and will be on demand viewing after today. Here's a question. Does Informatica Cloud allow batch integrations from on-premise to on-premise, which involves gigabits of data?
Sure. We definitely can do on-premise to on-premise integration. A number of our customers do leverage us. And the Informatica Cloud architecture is very well suited to do that. The secure agent does live behind your firewall, and it's the actual execution engine. And just a bit more on the Informatica Cloud Secure Agent, the engine is the same core engine that uses Vibe on our on-premise products as well. So the capabilities of the engine are exactly the same, and we're also continuing to enhance it through some capabilities like push-down optimization, things of that nature, supported in the agent more natively. So we definitely have a number of on-premise to on-premise integrations running through the agent today.
The next question is, does Informatica Real-Time integrate with Informatica Cloud?
Yeah, absolutely. So as maybe it wasn't very evident in the slide deck, but it is fully integrated with Informatica Cloud, including the user management, the access control, and all of that. And plus, the designer lives within the Informatica Cloud environment. So the designer is available within Informatica Cloud. The runtime, the on-premise runtime, or if you're reaching out to your on-premise system, then the secure agent is the same secure agent. Just like any other connector updates that we do, this is a real-time update, and it will be available as part of your secure agent. The other important point to note here is that if you are looking at cloud-to-cloud integration, then you don't need a secure agent in this scenario. You pretty much can do everything from Informatica Cloud Service, which is in the cloud. So again, to answer the question, definitely it's fully integrated with Informatica Cloud. It supports cloud to cloud, cloud to on-premise, on-premise to on-premise, and cloud to ground, all different patterns of integration.
So Prateek, just to clarify, I think you answered this other question, but you don't actually need the agent to do cloud to cloud. Everything is cloud-based. There's no on-premise secure agent needed. Correct? That's great. So another question is, do we support OAuth 2 for connecting to web services?
Yes. Yeah. With real-time, yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. Can we build a web service provider with Informatica Cloud rather than be a consumer to another service?
No, the whole notion of real-time here is that we provide both the web services consumer as well as the provider patterns, right? So if as I said, it is applicable both on the API framework that I talked about as well as on the process orchestration. So if you want to host your own web services or own business application or integrations, which others will consume, then you become a provider, and that is definitely what is coming up, what Informatica Cloud Real-Time enables to do.
Okay, Prateek, another question for you. You're a busy guy today in Q&A. Can Informatica Cloud provide data synchronous tasks or process integrations as reusable services consumed by Informatica Cloud itself or by other middleware systems?
Yes, answer is yes again.
Okay, great. Krupa, there's a question of, can we import a complex Power Center mapping to cloud and vice versa?
Yes, absolutely. So you can build any Power Center mapping and bring it into Informatica Cloud through the Power Center services, and then manage it in the cloud. You can also do the reverse. Again, as I mentioned earlier, both Informatica Cloud and Informatica's on-premise technologies are built on the same wide platform, so you would be able to map once and deploy it anywhere between the cloud and on-prem.
Okay, and here's a question about Informatica Cloud and real-time support for EDI and B2B integration. So I think the answer is yes, we support a full set of B2B standards, including EDI, right?
Yes, so what we have with Informatica Cloud is a B2B option, and that enables the B2B patterns, and EDI support is included with that.
Okay. Related question on B2B is, do we have partner management where partners can manage their own cert?
Yeah, that's coming. That's something that we are looking into actively at this point, and we plan to roll out some applications and services on this lines pretty soon.
So, Krupa, a direct question to you. What version of Informatica Power Center is needed to do what you just explained?
We support 9.6.1 and then anything that's backward compatible from that version.
Okay.
And then we're also working continuously to keep the version compatibility.
So there were a couple of questions about what sort of typical architecture using an iPaaS would we recommend or can we share? And I would say we have several, pieces of content around iPaaS on the informaticacloud.com website. I would also recommend that you contact your Informatica Cloud sales rep who can set up time with you and one of our technical architects or system experts, SE experts, and walk you through an iPaaS architecture for your specific needs. Right. Here's a very specific question. question, is there any way we can see the number of rows processed dynamically in Informatica Cloud activity window like in Power Center?
Yes, so there is an activity monitor on Informatica Cloud where you can dynamically see the number of rows being processed. We also have REST APIs around our activity logs and activity monitor. So if you have an external application through which you need to know the status of an Informatica Cloud task, you can invoke that through the REST API interface as well.
Okay. Krupa, another question for you. Can I track both success and failure instances in process activity logs and generate how many instances have succeeded and faulted for regular intervals?
Yes, you could definitely do that. So again, two aspects to it. One is through the user interface and the other through REST API. Through the user interface, one of the things you can do is create views that are specific to your success jobs or your error jobs and track them that way. And also through the REST API, you can easily get that information.
Great. These are great questions, everybody. I really appreciate it. We'll take a couple more. And of course, feel free to follow up and email us or go through your account rep, and he or she can certainly follow up with product management to answer more questions. So here's a question on supporting guaranteed delivery.
Yeah, so supporting guaranteed delivery, and I see another questions around error handling. So what we do, underlying the Informatica Cloud real-time is the fully standard-based runtime that is people-based, and that provides you various ways to actually manage exceptions, to actually deal with guaranteed delivery of messages and so on. So the short answer is yes, and the long answer, of course, I'll have to get into discussion with you. But the answer is that yeah, everything is standard based, and we support guaranteed messaging, guaranteed delivery, as well as very strong support for exception handling and management.
Okay, so we'll take one more question. Krupa, this one is for you. Do we support 64-bit application infrastructure?
The answer is yes. We have a limited version of the 64-bit secure agent available for Windows as well with the Summer 2014 release. Please contact Informatica Global Customer Support if you need access to that. And we also have a Linux version of the 64-bit agent available. Again, do contact customer support and they can guide you through the process.
Great. Everyone, thank you for all your questions, and hopefully you enjoyed the webinar on the Informatica Cloud Summer 2014 release. And that's the end. Thanks, and have a great day.